Rear Admiral.
Your Worship, I'm here to exercise our right to the freedom of the city of Victoria.
Please come in.
Thank you, sir.
A sea of white caps, polished shoes, and shiny buttons washes over the streets of downtown Victoria today. Thousands of sailors, soldiers, and aircrew, their families and civilians, turn out to celebrate our Navy's Centennial. It is the biggest military parade in Victoria in half a century. Freedom of the City, a tradition that dates back to the 1600s, and the sacrifice made by the military families across the country is underscored on this Navy Day with the death of the first Canadian sailor serving in Afghanistan. Good evening. Thanks for being here. Welcome to a special edition of A News at 5 as we take part in the celebration of 100 years of the Canadian Navy. We have full A-team coverage of the centennial celebrations tonight, beginning with Eric Thompson and one very impressive parade.
This tradition dates back more than 3 centuries.
Hey!
Sailors, veterans, civilians, and dignitaries gathering to celebrate an important milestone.
Today, we are honored to exercise the freedom of the city of Victoria as we celebrate our 100th year of service to Canada and Canadians.
The Freedom of the City Parade is held only once in a generation.
The last time we did a Freedom of the City Parade in Victoria was 25 years ago for our 75th anniversary.
Throughout history, there has been a reluctance to have large bodies of troops in city streets, potentially disturbing the peace and appearing to be a threat to the ancient civic rights of the city fathers.
This is a Navy town, and to see thousands of military soldiers walking by, gives you tremendous pride. Wasn't that a proud moment?
Yeah. The custom of granting freedom of the city first took hold in 1660. It is a prized honor demonstrating the affection, esteem, and trust in the military to protect our democratic institution.
It is a historic honor that was conferred, recognizing in the old days that cities were walled. You had to set up protections. The constables would stand there and say, you cannot bear colors, you cannot bear arms within the city.
Identify yourself and state your purpose.
I am Rear Admiral Tyrone Pyle, Commander Maritime Forces Pacific.
I did a little reading last night about the history of the freedom of the city and what it meant for, centuries ago for military or martial units to not be allowed into the city for fear of a coup or problems with elected officials. And it's sort of fun to be a part of this.
The freedom of the city of Victoria.
Today, as we mark this special anniversary, a reminder of the sacrifices made by those who serve our country. A moment of silence to honor Petty Officer Craig Blake, the first Canadian sailor to die in Afghanistan since the mission began in 2002.
We will miss Craig.
The commander of Maritime Forces Pacific and Joint Task Force Pacific says it is the Navy's hope that Canadians will join sailors across the country and serving overseas as they commemorate the past, celebrate today, and commit to the future.
And A News reporter Eric Thompson joins us now live at Ship Point. Eric, what a day it was today. And the Navy celebrations continue for the next several weeks. What happens next?
Well, next, the International Fleet Review. That's the next big celebration. It takes place in June. 25 nations have been invited to send ships to the Victoria-Esquimalt area, and among them, the USS Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier. The Fleet Review takes place June 9th through the 14th.
All right, Eric Thompson reporting. Eric, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, for Navy families and ship's crew alike, there is nothing that compares to that moment when a ship has returned to home port. And there's nothing quite like that very special moment that happens on the jetty. The hugs and the kisses and the tears that happen at the homecoming. That moment has been captured forever in a sculpture that was unveiled in the Inner Harbor today as part of the Navy celebration. A News reporter Mary Beth Burton joins us now from the homecoming statue with more. Mary Beth.
A living naval tribute. That's what the Rear Admiral is calling the statue on memorial bricks. At a very emotional ceremony today, the weight and the gravity of the significance of the statue was felt by most. A Naval Honor Guard parades on Wharf Street for the official unveiling of the homecoming statue. BC's Lieutenant Governor, an honorary naval captain, gives the vice-regal salute. Hundreds of people anxiously wait to see the statue, a gift from 1,000 people who donated more than $400,000 towards it.
If the men in uniform ever wondered whether your country stands behind you, if you ever thought in your heart, I wonder if the people in the community stand with you, today you've got your answer.
Victoria tenor Ken Levine, backed up by the Naden Band, sings his stirring composition, I'm Coming Home. And the big moment arrives. The statue is revealed. The image, a non-commissioned petty officer bending to embrace a little girl.
Symbolizes in one snapshot in time the essence of your Navy. Who we are, why we serve, and how critical it is that we are supported and remembered.
Sculptor Nathan Scott and his own daughter attend the dedication service.
The statue weighs 816 kilograms. It was welded together with at least 40 pieces of bronze, but it's not the heavy metal that went into the statue, it's the heavy emotions that people are getting out of it.
The community committee hopes the statue gives Victorians, visitors, and the military a special place for reflection.
I want them to think about the Navy and the relationship that we have between this community and the Navy, which has been enormous for this city. And also, of course, the wonderful sacrifice that men and women have made for all these years.
Community support for the statue was so great, a surplus of $50,000 is going to military families for an imagination library.
Every year, children under the age of 5 will receive a book. So we're going to start with kids born in 2010, and parents can register their children, and then every year up until they're 5, they'll receive a book per month.
Another enduring gift from the homecoming statue and its supporters.
The homecoming statue is flanked by both the Rock of Service and over here the Rock of Honor. And we've told you a few times about the memorial bricks that are placed. As you can see, flowers are now starting to be dropped along some of those memorial bricks, so it's becoming a bit of a shrine as well. And you'll think of the statue David in Italy, and people stand with the thinker piece and their hands beside their face. Well, we saw many families reenacting this moment and having their pictures taken with moms and dads waiting to greet their children. Hudson, this could be quite a living tribute to the people who have served in our military.
Indeed it will be, and a new landmark in the Inner Harbor. Mary Beth, thank you. Joining us now live also from the homecoming statue at Ship Point is Naval Commander Tony de Rosenroll with Maritime Forces Pacific. Commander, thank you for taking time to be with us tonight. Describe for us, if you will, what kind of a day this was and the sense of pride that you and your sailors must have felt during that parade.
Well, Hudson, it's been just a great Navy day all the way around. We couldn't have had better weather for it, and all of the work that my colleagues, Chief Petty Officer Moger, and all of the team at the Naval Centennial office have been working on this for many, many months, working out cooperation committees with the City of Victoria and many of the first responders. To see all of this come to fruition on a day like today is just a super tribute.
The Lieutenant Governor may have put it best when he said this is a Navy town, and it is indeed. Eric mentioned some of the events that are coming up. Tell us a little bit about the International Fleet Review when it happens in June.
Well, the International Fleet Review coming between the 9th and 14th of June is probably the most public and visible events that the citizens of Victoria and people around Western Canada will enjoy. We've got ships coming from Japan, New Zealand, Australia, France, the United States, to join us here to celebrate further the Canadian Naval Centennial, along with our own Canadian ships and Coast Guard. And we're really looking forward to thousands of visiting sailors and additional Navy watchers from around the world will be coming to Victoria to enjoy the city of Victoria and celebrate again our naval birthday.
Now, Commander, family is a big part of what happens in the Navy, and the Navy is a big part of the family in Greater Victoria. That's the essence of that statue that was unveiled today. Tell us a little bit about that. And you have a family background as well in your own family in the Navy, don't you?
That's true, Hudson. Thank you very much for reminding me of that. This is really a great image to put in front of the sailors and the people of Victoria, because that homecoming image of children rushing into the arms of Victoria is exactly what you see when our ships return from their long deployments to Esquimalt Harbour. And I feel it. There were tears in the eyes of many of the veterans, the serving sailors, and the children that I saw looking at the unveiling today. That this image is going to be a lasting one, and I think it's appropriate for it to have been chosen to be the one that's commemorating the naval service.
Navy Commander Tony de Rosenroll, thank you for taking time to be with us. Congratulations on your centennial, and thank you for all you do and all that the Navy does for Canadians. We appreciate it.
Thank you too, sir.
Thank you.